There we go. Okay. So welcome everybody. So sorry for the slight delay. We're going to do that. But if you'd like to lie down to begin with, and as always, check the space around you, check the space above your head. We're going to be drawing the arms up. So when you're lying down, you want to be able to stretch your arms back and away without touching the skirting board. And if you have a strap, a yoga belt, that might be useful. It doesn't matter if you haven't got one. It's just behind you. So those of you at home, if you've got a dressing gown tie or a scarf or something, ideally not stretchy, if you want to grab one of those, that would be good. Okay, so we'll just start by limbering the joints. So we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And just that simple action can feel that stretch through your glutes and through the lower back. Keep your head down on the ground. And then give your toes a little wiggle around. Waking up the toes, just the toes. So if you can keep the ankles still, so there's no involvement there. Wiggle, wiggle. Right, then relax the toes and start to point and flex the feet, so you're working the ankle joints. And notice how, as you point and flex, your toes try and get involved as well. So try and keep the toes soft and relaxed and just move the ankle joints. Is it looking good? And the ankle joints can also circle around. So just checking the mobility of your ankles as you circle the feet around. And then change direction. And on autumn days, windy days, wet days, sometimes your joints can feel a bit creaky and clicky, especially the feet, especially the ankle. Okay, so relax the feet down, and now we'll move to the knee joints. So if you slide your hands behind the back of your thighs, so your knees are still in towards your chest, knees still tucked in, that's it. Feet off the ground, and then you're just going to simply lift and lower the heels. So this is that first action, that sort of hinge movement. Lift, lower, lift, lower. You can time some of these with the breathing. So as you breathe in, you go towards straight, and as you breathe out, heels drop down to the bottom. Just checking in on how the knee joint feels. Knee joint can also go from side to side. So here we circle the heels around, so that you try and keep your thighs as still as you can, and shins move around. So the movement is coming from the knee joint, circling around. If you're not sure what you're doing, just look at me. So I'm going over to the side with the heels up, over to the other way and down. It's got a space for kind of an oval shape. And then change the direction. And then let the heels just drop down to the bottom, legs relax. You're going to change your hand position now, so your hands rest on your kneecaps. Shoulders relaxed. And now we're working into the hip joints, circling the knees away and draw them in and rest them open, as if you're swimming, breaststroke. So round you go. Is it legs parting? That's it. Just limbering up the hip joint. And then change the direction, circle around. So legs come apart as if you're doing breaststroke movement. Okay, the knees together. So we're going to work the hip flexors a little bit more by bringing your hands around the shins, not on the knees, but just beneath them. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest and draw your head up to the knee. And then lower your head back down again. Hands onto the kneecaps and straighten your arms, hands and arms supporting the legs, the weight of the legs. So wrap the hands around the shins, squeeze in, head up to knee, curl up. And then head back down, hands on the kneecaps, straighten the arms as we go away. So you're drawing in, squeeze and curl up. That's it. So this works the hip flexors, but also the spine, flexing it, curling it up. And as the head comes down, extending. All right, last one. And then pop your feet onto the floor, feet hip distance apart, and bring your hands out to the side. So you can either just tuck your hands behind your head, so fingers interlaced, elbows out to the side, or have your arms down by your side, palms facing out. So we're now going to move up to the next set of joints, which are the vertebrae, the spine. So we're going to go from side to side, a gentle twisting action. So breathing out, you're dropping your knees over to the left. So perhaps you're just going halfway over. Don't feel that you have to go to the absolute max all the way down. Just checking in how it feels halfway, then come back to center and go the other way, halfway over. Coming back up. And then over. And so can you feel the shoulders are stable? And as you go from side to side, there's an expansion and an opening. You might feel it just in the waist, but it's also happening in the mid and lower back. Perhaps you're feeling a little stretch and opening through the hips as well. And as you warm up and ease into this movement, if everything feels okay, then maybe you go further over to the side. Perhaps the bottom leg will then touch the floor and the top knee will touch the opposite leg or heel or foot. Never pushing it too far, just checking in, seeing how it feels. Okay, so last round. And then bring your feet back to the center and bring the feet together. So you're locking in at the ankles and the inner thighs. Maybe getting the heels a little bit closer towards your bottom. So arms are in the same position. We're now going to drop the knees over to the left and the right foot will come completely off the ground. So you're trying to keep the knees and the ankles locked together the whole time. And this brings this twisting action to the vertebrae a little bit higher up the spine. So hopefully you can feel that higher up. Come back up on the inhale. And exhale, drop the knees to the right so that the left foot comes completely off the ground. Looking good. So don't let the feet slide apart. You want the hip and the legs to be moving as one. Okay, keep going. And just checking in on how this feels. If everything's good, you want to go further, you just gently press that top leg down into the bottom leg, pushing down so that the bottom leg reaches towards the ground, but don't overstrain. Great. All right, so finishing on the right side as we started with the left. So next for the spine is to extend it and lengthen it as much as possible. And here we include the shoulders and the hips as well. So I'd like you to slide your legs out, extend out through the toes. And then if you have any blocks or anything underneath the head, maybe getting them away from you and then sweeping your arms up. So you're trying to get as much length as you possibly can, all the way through the spine, the shoulders and the hips. So in this full stretch, you're taking some big, full, deep breaths. And as you inhale, lift a little higher up through the fingers towards the skeleton ball behind you and extend your toes out even further. And as you exhale, relax and soften into the stretch. Great, looking good. Taking the stretch to the back of the leg, so we're still extending the spine. You're going to now flex your feet. So pushing out through the heels. Feel that stretch through the calf. And breathe here, taking that big inhale up through the fingertips, out through the heels. And exhale, relax into the sensations of stretch. Okay, then soften and release. Just give your legs a little flop around, relax the shoulders. And now we're going to a lateral movement for the spine. So we're going over to the right side. So you walk your heels over to the right, one then the other, and then wiggle your shoulders over to the right. So you're creating what's called a crescent moon pose. And then just checking in on how this feels. So I want you to be able to keep your shoulders down and the back of the pelvis. So the left hip might try and lift off the ground. See if you can firmly plant it down. Good. Looking good. Okay, so if everything's really good and you want to go a little further, you're going to cross your left ankle over the right. So the two are hooked together just at the ankles. Watch that hip hasn't left the ground. And then your right hand holds onto the left wrist and just give it a gentle pull and just see how that feels. And feel the length through the waist, out of the hip, through the rib cage, shoulder. And breathing into those sensations of stretch. Great. Okay, so we do exactly the same on the other side. So unhook the ankles, wiggle your shoulders and walk your heels back to center, and then keep going. So now everything's over on the left. So don't go straight into it on this side. Just get the heels over, shoulders over, everything down, and then see how that feels. And then when you feel that you're able to go further, and if you want to, you cross the right ankle over the left, locking in, checking that the hip hasn't left the ground, so the right hip firmly down, and then use your left hand to hold your right wrist and give it a good pull. Breathe into those sensations of stretch. So your exhale is here to help soften and relax. Well done. Okay, so come back to the center. And bring your arms down, giving the shoulders a bit of a break. Bend your legs, feet flat on the floor. And this gives great support for your back. Just by having the heels closer towards the bottom, tilt the pelvis, so the lower back feels support. So whilst the back supported, we're now going to work through the hands, the fingers, the elbows, etc. So I want you to bring up your arms so your hands are up above your nose, and open your eyes so you look next towards the ceiling. You can see your fingers and thumbs. Perfect. Have your palms facing each other. Wiggle your thumbs around. See if you can just wiggle the thumbs around and watch them wiggling around. So look at those joints working in the thumb. Now keep the thumbs still and wiggle your fingers around. See if you can keep the thumbs still. So there's just involvement in the fingers alone. Little finger, ring, middle, index, wiggle around. Now let the thumb join in as well. And then slide the fingers together. So the fingers go right to the webs in the fingers. Flip the hands around so your palms are towards the ceiling, and push your hands up. You can feel that stretch in the fingers as you press your palms up. Okay, then slide your fingers apart. And now moving to the wrist joint. So if you just softly curl your fingers, you make little soft fists, and then roll your wrists around. So watching your wrists work, circle them around. And then go the other way. Okay, now moving to the elbow joints. So extend your fingers up towards the ceiling. And then draw your fingertips to your shoulders. And you might be able to just bring your elbows in a little bit towards each other so that as you're working, you can watch both arms working at the same time. So inhale, extend, exhale, fingers to shoulders. Just checking in on how the elbow joint feels. How often do you think about your elbow joints? Probably not very often unless it's you bang into it, knock it, and it's sore. Nourishing all these joints with movements. Okay, so finally we'll do some shoulders action. So I'd like you to have your arms extending up towards the ceiling. And then hook your thumb and index finger of the right hand into the crease of the elbow of the left. And the same with the left hand hooking into the crease of the elbow of the right. And then we're breathing in, drawing the forearms up and over the head, getting as high as you comfortably can. Maybe go just to the forehead, or you might be able to lift the forearms up to the floor behind you. And then breathing out, draw the forearms back down. Breathing in, lift up, reach up, keeping the fingers locked into the elbow joints. And exhale, lower down. So feel the comfort and support of the hands hooking into the elbows. And then notice the movement in the shoulder joint. You maybe feel the shoulder blades rising, lifting up along the mat. Maybe feeling the stretch through the waist and the rib cage. And this is fantastic for elongating any compression that you might have in the lower back, perhaps from doing a lot of sitting. We're drawing up 2 more times, up on the inhale. We exhale, last one. Okay, so we will now move on to some work for the hamstrings. So if you have a yoga belt or a strap or anything, you could use that, but I haven't, so I'm going to demonstrate without. You don't necessarily need one. You're going to keep your left foot as it is, flat on the floor, drawing your right knee towards you and squeeze and feel that length through the lower back and the glutes. And now flex your right foot and drive your heel up towards the ceiling. If you have a belt, you're going to pop the belt onto the ball of the foot. If you don't have a belt, then hook your fingers behind the back of your thigh. And we're aiming to get the leg straight if you can. Okay, so I can see a few bent legs around the room. So I would like you to, if you notice that you have a bent leg, just slide your heel away from you. You can still catch hold of the inner thigh, outer thigh with your hands. Get your leg straight, push out through the heel, giving length to that leg. And then start to just gently encourage the leg closer towards you, keeping it straight. Looking good, great. Okay, so as you inhale, you're going to drive the heel further along towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, you see if you can draw the leg a little bit closer towards you. So breathing in, drive the heel up towards the ceiling, lengthening. And breathing out, drawing it in. So only working within your comfort zone, feeling that you are stretching the hamstrings, or maybe you're feeling it in the calf as well, back of the knee. You don't want to go to full stretch position where the body then starts to kind of guard itself against perhaps overstretching and damaging. So you just ease off to about 80% of the work, and then soften and relax into it, and then maybe you can draw the leg a bit closer. Great. Okay, so keep your left foot where it is on the ground, but drop the knee out to the side. So it's left knee out. And then with your right leg, keep it straight, but open it out to the side. So you're opening up through the inner thigh. So here we have the advantage of inner thigh stretch and stretching the back of the leg at the same time. If you haven't got a belt, you are catching hold of your leg from underneath. So your elbow is on the ground, catch hold of the leg. Holding the outer thigh, push up through the heel, same thing, and drawing the toes up towards the ear. Just a couple more breaths, not too long. Last breath. Well done. Okay, come all the way up, and then let go of the belt, the thigh, and then bring the knee in towards you and squeeze your head up and in towards the knee. Okay, so let's swap the legs around. So right leg on the ground. Draw the left leg in, head up to knee, squeeze. Hold it here for a moment. Okay, then head back down, relax the shoulders. Flex the foot of the left leg and drive your heel up. So you're aiming to get that straight leg again. So hands supporting the leg, round thigh, inner thigh, outer thigh, or maybe you can get the hand reach all the way round. Find a straight leg. Breathing in, lengthen up through the heel. Exhale, slowly draw the leg towards you. Great, looking good. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, slowly draw the leg towards you. So remember, don't go to the full extent of the stretch, so you're putting too much strain and effort in the muscles. Just try and work at about 80% of the effort, relax into the sensations, and then the body will soften and invite you to go deeper. And then you see if you can just play with the edge of the stretch and go a little bit further. So the right foot stays on the floor, leg stays bent, but you drop the right knee out to the side. And then the left straight leg opens out to the side. So using the belt, drop it over, or use your hands to catch hold of the outside of the leg. Breathe here, not long, hold it. Try and get the leg straight if you can. Hold on. Last couple of breaths. Well done. Come all the way up. Release and bring the knee into the chest. Let go of the belt. Curl up, squeeze in. And then gather up the right knee to meet the left as well. So both legs are tucking in. And then you can just have a little roll here from side to side. Just rock, rock, rock. Fantastic. Okay, so when you're ready, come on up onto all fours. So rock up or roll over onto your side. You might want a bit of padding underneath your knees. All right, so we're going to do some waking up of the feet. Bring some life into them. So come onto all fours, touch your toes under, and then just gently rock backwards and forwards, keeping the toes tucked under. You're pushing your weight back, stretching the toes, and then crown of the head comes forwards, take the pressure away. Press back and rock forwards. So try and get some movement in the toes. Waking them up. So either stay with this or come all the way back and have a go at sitting back. So you might want to have the hips so kind of up in the air here, or you might be able to come all the way up and sit up with your weight back on the heels into what's called hero pose. So for me, my little toes are really short, so they're not doing anything at all. So I'm just going to put my hands behind, grab hold of the toes and encourage those forwards. And then we come back forwards, flip the toes out and really lightly just tap the feet. Trying to keep the, get the circulation going. And again, so we tap under. And you can either just stay here if you don't like going back, it's not great for the knees. Press back, just bring a little bit of weight back, or you're coming all the way back, have the hands back, see how that feels. The full position is sitting up. And if you find that your toes aren't, all of them aren't involved, then get the fingers to pull the toes forwards. Sit up, sit back, and then come forwards, release, unfold, and lightly tap. And we'll just do that for the third time. So tuck under. Just you can stay here, just pressing back if that's been enough so far, or walk back halfway, or all the way. Getting all those toes involved, curl them out. Good.
Quite painful, isn't it, on your inside arch?
Oh, I don't feel it there. I just feel
that's why I feel it underneath my big toe and on the inside there.
It's good to have a stretch there.
Yeah. Ooh.
And you just have that cramp as well, so maybe.
Yeah, I get a lot of cramp in my feet.
Yeah. So this is nice to do after the summer. If you've been wearing sandals a lot, I live in Birkenstock sandals, and your toes do that, they grip in when you're not wearing like proper shoes. So the toes shorten and tighten. So it's nice to get them nice and vibrant. Okay, so we'll leave the toes alone now. So just let them relax here, and then we'll move through different versions of the cat pose. So first one, you're going to tuck your tailbone under and abs engaged. So it's as if you're wearing a really tight belt, big, thick, tight belt bound around you. So you're pulling your abdominal muscles up and in, roll your shoulders back and look straight down. Maybe watch me first of all, right? So we're going to rock the hips back, keeping the back nice and flat, and then bring the crown of the head forward. So you'll all know the traditional cat pose where we hollow and round, like so, but I want you to just stay with this flat back version, so that the stretching of the spine, instead of rounding and hollowing, the stretching comes from this gentle rocking movement. So the weight of the hips going back and the crown of the head coming forward. And you don't have to go very far to feel that stretch. Hopefully you can feel it. So have a look at you all. Okay, so make sure you have that imaginary belt on that you're drawing up through your abdominal muscles. Weight going back. And rocking forwards, crown of the head forwards. If you find it tough on the wrists, then come onto your fists. So you have your thumbs forwards, weight into the knuckles. Forwards and back. And sometimes when we do this, initially you feel it in the lower back and the mid back. And then because it's doing its job, it's easing the spine. Then you find it goes, so you might be able to go further back if you want to. So you, again, keeping the back flat, and then you send your weight back and see how that feels. And you might be able to get the bottom all the way back down to the heel. Rocking back, crown of the head forward. Rocking back, don't lose contact with those abdominal muscles. And then eventually coming back as far as you can and holding into swan. So we have the weight of the bottom dropping back towards the wall behind you, or maybe it goes all the way down to the heel, and you stretch your fingers away to the other side of the mat. Big, long expansion. This can be tough on the shoulders and the neck. So make sure your head feels really heavy. Just drop it down if it's uncomfortable on the neck. And for the shoulders, you could just have your hands wider. So I could bring mine right off the mat and I can feel that the shoulders aren't as involved. Maybe you can rest your forehead down onto the mat. That can also help with the neck. You're keeping the weight dropping back into the heels and the fingers extending away. Great. Okay, can move all the way back up and back onto all fours. So now moving through the traditional cat pose. So you're rolling the shoulders back, tailbone goes up and lift the heart. And then as you exhale, you tuck the tailbone under, drop the head down and round the spine. Breathing in as you come into hollowing cat, open. And breathing out, tailbone tucks under and round. So this is the second version, and it's not to say it is the perfect one for you and your back. So if you feel that it's just not right, then go back to the first variation. So the back straight, and you're rocking backwards and rocking forwards. Rocking backwards, rocking forwards. And then if everything's feeling good and you want to go further, you can go into this round position like you're over a big exercise ball, head down, tailbone tucks under. And then you bring your hips all the way back towards your heel. And then slide your nose, just hovering it over the mat to the hands, and then press up into hollowing cat. So this is quite a lot for the back. So if you're feeling it in your lower back, then don't go into this full version of cat, smooth version of cat. It's a rounding exhale, bottom back towards your heels, stretch it back. Inhale, nose along the mat to the hands and press up. Or you are just staying in a small upright position. Taking this deep breath as you come into the hollowing cat. And then rounding bottom back to your heels. Looking good, everybody. Okay, so next we're going to come into either swan or downward facing dog. So with all that opening that we did of the feet, you're going to tuck your toes under, roll the shoulders back, draw your abs up and in, press through the hands, really spreading the fingers and lift the hips. And then the heels go down towards the ground. If that doesn't feel right for you, come back into swan pose. So you're just stretching the spine without bothering the back of the legs. Let's head down, fingers forward in swan or downward facing dog. And when you're in downward facing dog, if it's really tight in the back of the legs, you can just pad the heels away, pressing one away, then the other, bending one knee, bending the other, pad away, walking on the spot. Right. Fantastic. Okay, so come back down onto the ground. Onto all fours. So with your hands underneath the shoulders, you're now going to walk your hands over to the right. So your left hand comes underneath your nose. So just see on the screen, left hand under the nose, right hand out to the side. Does that make sense? And then you've made space then to bring your left foot forwards. So take a couple of steps to get the left foot roughly in line with your fingers. So I'll do it again from here. So You're in cat position, the starting position, and then you're just walking your hands over to the right and stepping your left foot forward. And then we're using this to open the hips. So you're just going to roll the hip around. So imagine you've got a pencil on your bottom on the left side, and then draw some circles with that left hip. Circle around. And circle the other way. All right, okay, let's do the other side. So bring the left knee back, hands back underneath the shoulders, and walk your hands over to the left, so that the right hand ends up underneath the nose, and you step your right foot forwards. And then circle the right hip around. Circle, circle. So this is perhaps you feel it in the inner thigh, maybe you feel it into the hip joints, into the back. So what is fantastic to help the lower back particularly is keeping the hips nice and fluid, nice and open, because if the hips get tight and stiff, then the back does the work and you can overload it. Make sure you've gone both directions. Okay, then we'll come back onto all fours. And I'm going to step the left foot forwards again. So just making some space by bringing the hands over to the right and step the left foot forward. If you find it uncomfortable, you need to pop a blanket there, or you can just roll at the side of your mat and lift your knee, right knee, and then pop it down. So you've got a double thickness underneath the mat. Okay, so hands onto your hips, lift the chest, hands onto your hips. Tailbone tucks under and find that band of muscles again across your torso. Roll the shoulders back, bring your hands to your heart. Pressing the top foot and the sole of the left foot firmly down, and then draw your hands up towards the ceiling, stretch up and away. Take some breaths here. So if everything feels okay, you're going to now bring the hips further forwards and arch back a little bit, opening the heart. But don't collapse into the lower back. Keep lifting up, stretch up and away. And up. Okay, release the hands. Bring the hands behind your back, fingers interlace. Roll the shoulders back and down. Pull your knuckles down towards the floor. Can you just gently encourage the hands away from the hips? Feel that stretch across the chest. And you can either stay there or you can add on this version called Humble Warrior. We bring the left shoulder down in the direction of the left thigh. Maybe it touches the knee and the hands lift and come away. You bow your head down towards the ground. Well done, everybody. Okay, so pushing through the left foot, come on up. Release the fingers and throw the arms up into the air, bringing the hips forwards. Take a big breath in. Well done. And then release. Hands come back down to the floor. Step the left foot back. Unfold your mat if you have it there, and we'll do the other side. Okay, so your hands are now shuffling over to the left slightly. Bring the right foot forward. If it's uncomfortable on the knee, roll the edge of the mat up so it's double thickness. And then come on up. Hands start on the hips. To find your stability, press firmly through the right foot, top of the left foot pushes down, hands to your heart. Roll the shoulders back, abs engaging, finding that band drawing in and around you. As you press down to the feet, draw the arms up and just checking in, does it really truly feel okay for the back to raise the arms? You find if it's uncomfortable, then you place your hands back at the heart or hands onto your hips to give you support and comfort. Breathe here, relax the shoulders, soften the jawline. Maybe you can bring the hips a little bit further forwards, rolling the shoulders back further. Lift, pulling up. Well done, and release. Hands behind the back, fingers interlaced, roll the shoulders back. Take a big breath in, open. And we're just encouraging the hands away from the lower back. Stay there. We'll have a go at this humble warrior version. So you're bringing the right shoulder down in the direction of the thigh. Maybe it goes all the way to the knee. And you bow your head. It is really tricky with your balance. If you're wobbling around, it's perfectly normal. Well done, come on up. And as you come up, release the fingers, hips go forwards, and stretch the arms up and away. So you're lifting out of the lower back, taking that compression away. Big breath here. Well done. Release. All the way down. And bring the right foot back to meet the left. Okay, so we're going to have a little go at that routine from the standing position. So toes to hands up, roll the shoulders back, up into downward facing dog. Give your head a shake, relax your jaw. And then we'll step forward. So maybe you just shuffle the feet a few inches forwards, and then you walk the hands back. And then go forward to the feet a bit further, fingers back. And then bend your knees and slowly come up to standing. All right, so let's have you all standing at the back edge of your mat. So hands onto your hips. So look down at your feet and check your toes are facing forwards, don't want any feet turning out. Tailbone tucks under. Use these really big muscles, your bottom. Great for supporting the hips and the back, so use them to squeeze them, draw it through the thighs. Bring your hands to your heart, roll the shoulders back and down. So you feel strong with the legs, those feet, we've stretched out the toes, you should feel lively, drawing up through the arches in the feet. Okay, so we'll take a breath in and reach all the way up. Stretch up and away. Just checking in on how that feels. Keep the strength in the legs. Exhale, release down. Just checking in again. How does the back feel there? Roll the shoulders back and down. Tailbone tucks under, abs engaged. Slide your hands to your hips and step your right foot forwards. Okay, so we're going to bend the right knee, but I want you to keep some pressure in the left foot. So solidly press the left heel down to the ground. So waking up those toes, give them a little spread and lift in the back foot and then place them back down again. The arch should feel lively, lifted. Keep your hands onto your hips and then encourage your hearts to lift up, top of the head to lift up. Okay, just take your gaze down and look at your toes. And now bend your knee and your knee follows the direction of your toes. And that foot should still feel lively, the arch lifts. Okay, checking back in with the back foot, root it down. Bring your hands to your heart, abs engaged, and then draw your arms up into warrior one. And just checking in on how that feels. Strong with the feet, arches lifting, toes spreading. Rooting back through the left foot. Great, legs look fantastic. And if everything feels okay and you want to go further and open that hip a little bit more, then you just shuffle the right foot further forwards so you have a deeper bend, and then you'll be engaging the quads a little bit more, but keep the back heel down. Okay, Morris, bend your front knee, that's it. Okay, bring your hands to your heart. Push with the right leg, straighten, and then step back. Okay, so we'll take a couple of breaths, what's called like a recovery breath afterwards. Big inhale and a big sigh, release. Okay, so we'll go again. Big inhale. Exhale. Hands onto the hips. So feeling that strength in the feet, in the quads, in the glutes, they're here to support you. Stepping through with the left leg. Okay, so you have that big wide stance and most of your weight's coming forwards, but engage the back foot. So you root down, feel the arch lift in the back foot, the toes spreading, push them down. Draw up through the top of the head, chin tucks in, lift, lift. And then gazing down at the left toes, you're going to bend the left leg and just check that the knee goes in the direction of your toes. If you let the knee drop into the midline, you're collapsing the arch and it's not great for the knee, health of the knee joint. So knee forwards, following the toes, that's it. As you bend the leg, reconnect with your back foot, back leg, so push it down, feel that calf work for you, strengthen the foot, and then come up into warrior one. You have these strong, stable legs, and the upper body is fluid and flows. And as you draw the arms up, it takes the weight down to the lower back, stretch up, just as we did on the floor. Big breaths. And draw your hands back to your heart, straighten the leg, push up with the left foot, and step back. So you might find this tough on the ankles, so maybe do a little bit of rolling, kicking, shaking. And now we're going to add on this humble warrior position. So standing, feet hip width apart, stepping the right foot forwards. So you know where you're at now, maybe you can go a little bit further. We're going to bring the hands behind and we're going to fold, so just bear that in mind. So pressing back through the left foot, arch is lifting. Gazing down at the right toes, send the knee forwards. Keep the weight into the back foot, tailbone tucks under, abs engaged, and draw the arms up, lift, open, stretch away. Solidly pressing down through that back foot. Big breaths in. Maybe sink a little deeper. Sit, relax the shoulders, loosen your jaw. Okay, legs stay in position, hands come behind you. Fingers interlaced. Roll the shoulders back and pull the knuckles down towards the back heel. Good. Maybe you sink a little lower. Keep the weight on the back foot. And now, if you want to, we add on that bow forwards. So it's right shoulder down towards the right thigh. Pause halfway. Maybe go further and lift the hands away from the hips. So let the head relax. Amazing, well done everybody. Come all the way up. Sweep the arms up and away, back into warrior one. Maybe hips go further down, lift the fingers up. And then exhale, hands to your heart and step it back. Pause here, maybe kick out, shake out the legs. Take some deep breaths. Let's do the other side. Okay, so step through with the left leg. Hands onto your hips. We're going to be bending that front leg, so maybe get further forward, you know what you're doing now. Okay, so firm contact with the back foot pressing down to the earth. The left knee bends, following the line of the toes. As you bend the leg, connect back with that back foot. Root it down. Hands to your heart, tailbone tucks under, abs engaged. Maybe sink a little bit lower, keep the back foot strong, and then come all the way up into warrior one, extending the fingers up and away towards the sky. You can keep the palms together or open the arms wide. Or if you find that's all a bit uncomfortable on the shoulders, then hands onto the hips. Just make sure the back leg stays straight, the heel down. Keep breathing deeply. Looking good, everybody, well done. So now we come into humble warrior. So bring the hands around and behind you, fingers interlaced. Roll the shoulders back, reach through the back foot, maybe lift the hands and that's enough. Or we start to tip forward. Let's go halfway, see how that feels. Checking in that everything is okay. Maybe lift the hands a little further, or maybe lower down, bringing the shoulder to the thigh and the hands, and further up and away. Keep breathing, don't push it too far, work with what feels good in the moment. And then release. And throw the arms all the way up. Open. Exhale, hands to your heart. Straighten the leg and step it back. Okay, so kick it out, wiggle the legs, roll the ankles, point and flex. Well done, really good. So we're going to come back down to the ground. So you can just sit down as you roll, you can do a little stretch on the way down, hands on the thighs, and you can fold, stretch away. That doesn't feel good for the back, then just sit down and then lie down. And then find yourself eventually down on the ground. Put on your extra layers, get some, get a blanket, get some block supports if you need them. And we'll take a few moments of rest. So you're going to now orientate yourself back onto the floor, onto your back. Horizontal rest is really lovely for the skeletal system. But before you get there, don't just kind of drop yourself down and stay with everything blocked out. Maybe just stretch your knees in towards you, so you stretch the spine and the back. And then place your head back down onto the ground. And then pop your feet flat on the floor. So number one choice, if you are prone to especially lower back problems, but back problems in general, is trying to get the lower back to the floor. So it's got some support. So things that you can do to help that is to keep the legs bent. So your feet are on the floor, fairly close to your hips. And then drop your knees towards each other so that the legs aren't just here, they can support each other too. Okay, so see how that feels. Another option might be to bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open out. That can feel great for the hips, but if sometimes as we relax and the legs start to get very heavy as they relax, it can sort of feel that you're sort of hanging out of the hip joints, and that can be too much. Another option could be to get a yoga block or a little folded blanket or something and put that underneath your pelvis. So you lift your hips, feet flat on the floor, and actually support with a block underneath the pelvis. Okay, so once you're in position, we're going to start with a breathing practice. Close your eyes and just let yourself relax and rest, letting your skeletal system drop down to the floor. We'll be going around the outside. Just leave it about this. Okay. Do you want a blanket?
Yeah, but like that arm got out the back.
Like the what?
No, you can't. It's in the picture.
Okay, so just noticing your breath. The sensation of breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, the body moving because you're breathing. And notice the length of your inhale and the length of the exhale. We're just going to nudge the exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. So don't force it. Just add a little bit more gentle encouragement to the exhale so it becomes longer. So I do this with counting. So say you're breathing in slow and steady for a count of 5. So if you're breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then breathing out, slow, steady count to a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If that feels tight and uncomfortable, then don't go so far. But we're aiming to just nudge it a little bit longer than the inhale. And then we're going to add on a pause. So you're going to breathe in with that same count of 5. At the top of your inhale, you hold your breath, perhaps just holding it for 3. Maybe you can hold it for 5. And then a long exhale again. So breathing in 5, that stays the same. Holding the inhale for however long is comfortable. And breathing out for longer than the inhalation. Last round. Finish on the exhale and then just return to normal breath. And now enjoy resting in this stillness. Finding what we call satya, our true nature, true essence of us, this calmness, this stillness. Without thoughts and emotions of the mind jumping around, after a yoga practice in this moment of relaxation, you can feel very calm, very still. A true essence, a true nature. So feeling this calmness and stillness, traveling from the toes up the feet to the ankles. The calves, the knees, thighs, hips. To the lower back, mid, upper back, whole of the spine and shoulders. Feeling this calm, stillness, this satya, this true essence, this true calm nature of yourself, traveling down the arms, tops of the arms, the elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers and thumbs. Feeling this calmness, move to the lower abdomen, the navel, the solar plexus, the heart, the left and right side of your chest, back of the neck, sides, front of the neck. And then to the face. It's like someone's just put a really nice, soft silk scarf or something over the face, lightly spreading this softness over the face, this calmness, this stillness, this true nature, true essence, Satya. And then to the muscles of the scalp. So feel the whole of the head, the neck, whole of the torso, down the arms, the hands, all the way down the legs and out through the toes. So this calm, Satya, this unchangeable feeling is always accessible, it's always here. Yoga practice can bring it up as we make connections with the nervous system that helps us relax and rest. Enjoy this moment, creating this space, stillness, slowing down. So take some deeper breaths. And encourage a little bit of gentle movements. If you were very deeply relaxed, then don't hurry up. Don't do any sudden movements, just little movements of fingers and toes. And then eventually roll over onto your side, pause there for a moment, and then come up to sitting, maybe sitting on a block or cushion. And bring your hands to your heart. And then we finish by taking a breath in, drawing out. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the heart and just bow your forehead to your fingertips. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, perfect peace. Namaste. Thank you. And well done, everybody. Thank you. I'm just going to stop the recording.